Hi, my name is Kyle. I make multiple six figures for my clients, and personally last month I made over $30,000. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to decide what funnel you should use for your high ticket offer, whether that be education, coaching, B2B, anything that you use to either sell through a sales call, direct to checkout, anything. I'm going to let you know what the right funnel is based off your audience and based off how you want to sell it. Also based off the price point as well. So first of all, as you can see on the screen right now are my client results. Everything I've been doing for clients, as you can see, good reviews, people telling me I'm sick and that sort of stuff, yeah. But no, like I said, I'm gonna break this down for you. And the first thing I wanna jump into is the price. Now, this is probably one of the most important things because in this like high ticket, low ticket space, like just info product space in general, there's a few different funnels you can use. Now, the main ones people talk about, you have a book a call funnel, just so you know all the ones here. Now, a book a call funnel is essentially what it says on the tin. People click on an ad or click on some link. From there, there's usually a VSL, and below that is a embed type form integrated with Calendly, usually, which is one of the best practices to follow. That then leads them to book a call. Then they go to a thank you page, and that's it. That's the whole funnel. That one's all right. That's the first one, and I'm going to tell you where the best use case for that is later down the line. The next one is the webinar funnel, so I bet out a lot of these. The way this one is people can click on an ad or click on a link. You go to a registration page. At that point, they fill in their details, usually at least name and email. Then they go to a thank you page, and then there's a certain day when the webinar is, if it's live, if it's evergreen. It's obviously always just going on, so they can just see the webinar straight away. Then after that, there's also it's sort of like the direct to checkout, like low ticket funnel. So this is direct to checkout. So it's basically as soon as someone clicks on a link, they go to a page where they can buy. Literally that simple. So there's the book a call funnel, webinar, direct to checkout. Then there's also the lead magnet. This essentially is when someone opts in for something that you offer. And then there's usually some type of setters or a sales team that calls you up to get you to then book a call, or calls you up and then gets you to buy. So these are the main offers. These are the main funnels that are used in the high ticket space, low ticket space. There's also DM funnels as well. It literally says what it does. Basically asking someone to DM me the word 5, and then basically someone in the DMs is selling you. That's how that process works with the DM setter. So these are like the main funnels people use, and I'm gonna again tell you which one you should do based off price, your preference, your teams, and like their skill set, and then 4, your goals. Cool, let's get into it. So price, to break that down. So usually, if you're selling something that's above 2K, usually 2.5K, a lot of people, unless you're selling to a really wealthy audience, because that is also a very big factor as well, your audience, will want to have some type of communication or get all the information that they want. And then some people will also want help around pricing plans and things like that. So this is where the book a call funnel is very, very good if you have a high price. The reason is because we also do this because if you send people straight to a page where they just have to buy 2.5K and there's a video, if they haven't had much time with you before, so Google did a study and they discovered the 7-11-4 rule, which is that people need 7 hours of content across 11 different touch points across 4 different platforms in order to have enough trust to buy from you. So if someone's only just seen your ad or a couple of reels, they're not gonna be at the point yet where they're ready to just drop 2 bags on you. So we have a sales call where you can build up a lot of connection with that person. I hate the word rapport because you can't really build rapport in like 5 minutes or like 30 minutes, but just build genuine connection with that person, get them from A to B, which is like the trust barrier, the bridge that they have to walk across, so that finally at the point where they trust you enough to buy from you. That's the whole purpose of the call funnel. Same thing for a webinar. Now, the interesting thing with a webinar is you can either then go to direct to checkout or to the book a call funnel. So there's 2 ways you can go about it, which is very interesting. Again, if your price is above 2K, do book a call funnel. If it's below, you can do direct to checkout. So with the webinar, you know how it works. On the actual webinar, people go through the intro. From there, they go to the content, then they have a transition, then they get into the pitch. Then during the pitch, they'll say usually everything the program offers, and then say book a call below. And the main reason that call is still there, again, is to build that trust connection, answer any more questions that they have, because when people are spending more money for them, when it's a lot of money to them, they're gonna have a lot of questions because they're gonna be a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety around that. And they basically need someone to give them the reassurance that they're making the right decision. And that's what the whole purpose of the book a call funnel is there for. Then we also had the direct to checkout. So again, you do this for below 2K. That's basically when you just drop a link straight into the chat. So again, if your price is above 2K, you can do both of these. I think webinar is better because it builds more connection with the individual. So you're gonna see higher close rates and lower costs to acquire a customer. For example, with a book a call funnel, you might see like a $200 cost per booked call, whereas with a webinar, you may see like 150. So in general, even though it's like a longer cycle, because they have to register then show up, it will still end up being lower. So direct to checkout. Again, I wouldn't, if you have a high price, I wouldn't recommend this, because obviously it's best if you're probably doing like a $27, something really low like that. It's got to be below really $200 for a direct to checkout to work. And it can work, like Alex Hormozi did his on his webinar when he was selling, I think, an 18K package and a 6K package. But he also did 72 hours of webinar, pretty much, or something crazy. So he built up a lot of nurture and connection with that audience, and that's also his brand and reputation that he's built up over 6 years. If someone's just seeing you fresh off an ad, trust me, you will not have the same experience. So I would only recommend doing a direct to checkout if you have a very low ticket offer, and it's sort of just to get people into the door. Finally, you have the lead magnet one. This is, again, it's free. So this is really good if you have a high price, because on the back end, you can have setters, again, call up these people to then put them to a high ticket thing. Also, this gives people an experience of what it's like to work with you, which a lot of people do need before they ever purchase from you, so they're not wasting their money. Again, if it's a lot of money to them, which is very specific, because if you're selling to a billionaire, 2.5K is not a lot. But if you're selling to someone who's trying to feed a family of 4, it can be quite a bit. So they need to know that you aren't going to run away with their money. Carrying on. So lead magnet funnel is good if you have a high price and if you have a low price. And then DM funnels, again, this is like a really mid-ticket thing, and surprisingly, it works well at the low ranges. Like, let's say, like, if you have like a $50 to $1,000 thing, and then in the middle, it's okay. But then as soon as you get past 10K, it's actually a really good funnel again, because a lot of rich people don't want to jump on calls at all. They're happy to just get a payment link sent in the DMs and buy. So it's actually really, really interesting there. So DM funnels can be really good if you have a high price or a really low price. Carrying on, preference. Now, here's what you're going to get into with each one. So with the book a call funnel, lots of sales calls, which means you have to be willing to pack out your calendar for, I don't know, depends how much money you want to make, but a few days a week or every day per week to get closers. Or you need to have a closer who comes in and does that. So it means there's a lot more headache that you have to think about, because you either have to manage a team or you have to pack out your calendar, which not everyone wants to do, but it comes at the trade-off of you likely will make a lot more money because you're selling an expensive product, which needs more nurturing, more connection, more time spent with an individual. So if you're okay with sacrificing for this, it doesn't have to be forever, for a period of time, sacrificing more of your free time for sales calls, that's a good trade-off. Another thing with the book a call funnel is if you just run it straight, yes, it's easier than doing a webinar, but you're going to see higher costs most likely. The reason is because people aren't as, I wouldn't say qualified, but because they spent less time with you, they're gonna have loads more questions. They're gonna be colder when they come in, so it's colder traffic. They're not gonna be as used to you. So that means on these sales calls, you're gonna get a lot of people who are just wasting your time. You're gonna get a lot of people who just came on to ask more questions and that sort of thing. Which is why the book a call funnels kind of dropped off in popularity over the last couple months, I would say, in years. Or maybe over the last year or so, a lot of people going to webinars because of this exact reason. There's starting to be a lot of prospects who are just jumping onto calls, not really knowing what they want. So it can mean you have higher costs in terms of higher costs to acquire a customer. However, if you're very upfront with some pre-framing videos, so you can put these on your thank you page and say even things like what the price is, then you're gonna have less people who just waste your time on calls, which can again lower your costs, and then you get the right data sent back to Meta, which means you get more people like that. Carrying on with the webinar funnel. So for preferences, I'm sure you're gonna know you have to run a webinar. Now, again, this all depends on how much money you want to make. Some people do it weekly, some people do it twice a week, some people do it once a month. It's all up to you. But with this one, you're going to see you have to put a lot of time into creating the webinar, managing it, running it, setting it all up. Again, you're also going to see a longer sales cycle, most likely, depending on the time between when you run the webinar and when you run the ads, because it could be a month. So you're getting all these registrations, then they come to this one big conversion event where you have to be dialed. Otherwise, it's just you're gonna waste all these registrations, all these people who showed up. So you kind of have to have the stomach to support that and just know deep down that it's gonna work. So yeah, longer sales cycles for webinars. Also have to obviously, again, you're not spending as much time jumping on sales calls, depending on which way you go, because then you can have a sales team. But either way, there's still going to be some type of sales call, because even with direct checkout, people will probably need to speak to someone. So they want to call you, they want to message you. So there's still going to be some level of support people will need. But then a webinar compared to a sales call likely will have lower costs overall, like cost to acquire a customer, and higher upside. So it's worth it. Then we have direct to checkout. Again, easy. You can literally do nothing and people will just be buying in the background. What you will see though is likely higher refund rate. People buy accidentally, they get buyer's remorse, they're not as comfortable anymore. They're like, actually, no, I don't want this. Because even though they bought it, their beliefs which were holding them back or making them skeptical hadn't been solved or dealt with. So that means as soon as they jumped in, they saw something that maybe they didn't like, bang, straight away they leave. So it can be easier, but you're likely going to see a higher refund rate, which again could be stressful. Lead magnet preference. This one is pretty good. Again, pretty easy, it's free. This kind of syncs in with the second one about your team, but it's going to mean you need to be calling people. So everyone who opts in and gives you their contact information, you need to be reaching out to straight away within 5 minutes, so you aren't wasting that lead, which could then mean you might need obviously a load of dialers, right? And then obviously that's higher costs because you have more of a team, but then even if you pay them a rev share, but still there's more team, more people to manage, and if they do get a payment, then you have to give them a percentage or however you pay them. So it's, again, a very good strategy, but it's going to mean you are going to have to spend time calling people, messaging people, emailing people to get them to convert. And finally, DM funnels. Again, relatively easy in terms of it doesn't require too much, but you're going to be spending a long time in DMs. And again, even if you aren't doing it yourself, you're going to have setters who are in the DMs doing the setting, which I think you can now understand why choosing a funnel based off your team can make a lot of sense. So let's move to that now. Your team. So this is largely based off your sales team, because obviously they're the ones who will be converting people via the funnel, but also can depend on the marketers you have as well. Like, what are they the best at selling and the best at pushing about your offer? So let's list it. If they are great at dialing, so like cold callers, phone setters, that sort of stuff, you want to do the book a call funnel, because you'll have leads who come through who don't do that, and lead magnet, and webinar as well, because you can dial up all the people who are registering, try to get some early closers. If they're great at DMs, I'm sure you can understand which one's that's going to be. Obviously it's the DM funnel. This can also though be lead magnet, because I'm sure you've done the ManyChat thing before and they've given you something in the DMs. So that's similar to a DM funnel, I would say, but lead magnet works well. If you have a team who's great at closing, then you're going to want to do the book a call funnel. And I think you can just stick with the book a call funnel, because the most important thing is cold traffic. If they're really great at closing cold traffic, you won't need to do all these other things to warm up and nurture leads. Same thing with your marketers as well. If they're really good at pushing a book a call funnel, then that mixed with sales team who are great at cold traffic, it will absolutely crush. So you won't need to think about doing anything else, because this will be able to do everything. And the inverse as well. If you're someone who is weak at closing, you should do the opposite to the book a call funnel. So that means you should do the lead magnet. You should be doing the webinar, because webinars are like layups, bro. They have so much nurturing there. People jump onto sales calls ready to buy. You basically just have to answer all their questions and that's it. It's like being a cashier, genuinely. So really simple. So yeah, I think those are the reasons depending on your team. Oh, direct to checkout. Yeah, the last thing is, if you don't want a sales team, you have to do direct to checkout, which if you look at loads and large companies, that's basically where they're at. Like Tesla, like Microsoft, you just buy a laptop. Do you know what I mean? Apple, you just buy a phone. I know you can go in store and then they have all like the clerks that help you and stuff, but in general, really, really big companies are mainly direct to checkout, because a lot of people don't want to speak to a sales team. Very rich people, that is. So at scale as well, it's way easier to have no team than loads of people. So you change how you sell the product. And then finally, we have your goals. Now, this is all really dependent on how you want to get somewhere. So it's sort of linked to preferences, But it's one, how big do you want this to be? Because think about it, if you're going for $1 billion, right? You want to make $1 billion a year. You have to think, what capacity do I need in order to reach that stage? Because even if you have a sales team, which is just huge, it's going to be so much management that your goal of maybe having a simple business might not hold up. So that means you can't run the Book a Call funnel. If you're going for 100K a month though, I think honestly, webinar's the best, because all it takes is about you doing 2 a month, let's say 2 a month, every 2 weeks, even bi-weekly, 50K each time, and you can do that for sure. Especially if you sell a product, which is at least 5K, get 10 closes if you spend enough, 5K per, for example, per webinar, you can 100% do that. So that's like a $500 cost per acquisition for a coaching offer. So yeah, that's very doable. So 100K a month, webinar, 100%. Beyond that, you're going to probably be moving more into a Book a Call funnel if you want to get to like $1 million a month / lead magnet. Because what will end up happening is as you grow, you go from going after like the super hot leads, like ready to close, to people who are a little bit more colder. So they need more nurture. So you need to have funnels which promote that and allow them to interact more with your business, get good results from your teachings and your lessons before they ever work with you. But yeah, no, hopefully that helps you decide what funnel to run. And with this knowledge, you should be able to go and make a lot of money. All right, be generous, work hard, take your risks. Speak to you soon.